give a vast open space feel. A gentle filtered kick pulses under smooth blocks. Vocal chops slowly fade in reverse, echoing the most angelic. Feels like the first breath of sunrise breaking through clouds build. Homes of bass rises, rolling smoothly beneath the melody. Like percussion enters, soft clouds pass. Everything blooms into full color, driving with smooth rhythm, floating past. Energy feels like ascending through clouds, gentle and glowing. Deep kick, side chain bounce, dreamy block section move. Each chord change, every pad swells died in the background. Echoing gently through delay. It's not about dancing, it's about floating in the middle. Kick fades out, soft piano enters, four simple chords repeating. Echoes in slow motion. Ambient layers shimmer like reflections on water. Subtle reverse symbol leads into next wave. We are weightless under crystalline skies. Path boom wide, deep bassline returns, smoother, rounder. Reverb and delay spin dramatically, dream-like immersion. Everything blooms into full color, driving by smooth rhythm. Floating paths, euphoric melody. Energy feels like ascending through clouds, gentle and glowing. Drums slowly fade, like dissolve into echo. Final berry chord holds and vanishes. Comes in silence, eyes are waking from the perfect dream.
Opens with dark atmospheric patch, shimmering with faint distortion. Low filtered kick pulses gently in the distance. Deep reverb and stereo padding effects create an immersive night space. Immovable hum echoes softly, haunting with youth. The vibe being half like hydrating, lost in motion. Bass begins to roll, smooth and clean. And solid percussion and wide hi-hats. Layers of ambient texture fade in, soft wind reverse vocal, gently processed with delay in the break. Deep side chained kick, flowing mid-bass with liquid movement. Minimal snare snaps, tight and crisp. Hypnotic, grooves hold you under, weightless and midnight trance. Breakdown, phonics and flaps echo across the stereo field. A soft whisper of the melodies faintly through the eclipse. Beneath the fertile shimmer, silence feels alive. Bassline returns smoother and warmer. Additional vocal layers, ghostly hums and reverse tones.
dips below the horizon. Rolling deep bass and just smoothly underpinning the groove like percussion joins. Soft hi-hats brush, pads swell and widen, adding warmth, subtle vocal. Feel the horizon, arms gently pan stereo, enhancing depths. Drop one, groove solidifies, deep sound baseline rolls continuously, and adds and melodic layers, expelling the background. Passion remains soft, maintaining gentle momentum. Moving emotional texture and emotional texture energy. Sun flows into night, creates calm, reflective atmosphere. With bass returns with warm brown tone, pads and melodic layers bloom fully. Rolling deep bass and just smoothly underpinning the groove like percussion joins. Soft hi-hats brush, pads swell and widen, adding warmth, subtle vocal. Feel the horizon, arcs gently pan stereo, enhancing depths. Drop one, groove solidifies, deep soft baseline rolls continuously, and adds and melodic layers, expelling the background. Full touches merge, warm rolling bass, airy melodic ladders, gentle percussion. Feels like the last rays of sunlight fading, leaving calm night behind. Ends with one shimmering pad note, like the horizon, glowing goofy after sunset. Opens with soft airy pads layered with subtle reverb. Filtered kick enters slowly, light and deep. Gentle rolling bassline hums in the background create anticipation. Soft effects sweeps and distant vocal textures add atmosphere. Feels like stepping onto a rooftop, the night city glowing beneath you. Build, bassline becomes more prominent, flowing fluidly with cell modulation. Minimal percussion joins light hi-hats, rhythm clicks, soft hats. As and odds above shimmering tones pan across stereo field. A faint vocal sample echoes, feel the flow. Drop one, drop one, drop one, drop one. Deep smooth bass with sidechain compression. Bags bloom wide, airy and cinematic. Melodic plucks interact with the bassline, hypnotic and flowing. Percussion is minimal yet precise, maintains rhythm without overpowering. Hypnotic club energy, calm and driving. Kick and bass fade slightly. Pads and knobs dominate, creating a dreamy floating feel. Soft vocal echo arcane, hypnotic flow. Atmosphere feels dense like soft slows and reverse hits and steps. Drop one. Bass rolls deeper and warmer, pads and knobs shimmer, rising gently. Intensity. echo through the night. Index like soft swells and reverse hits enhance depths. Gaps, drops, 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 drop one, drop one. Keep and bass big, keep and bass big, keep and bass big, keep and bass big, keep drop one. Starts with soft ambient pads, panning gently like a breeze. Muted plucks echo in the distance, forming a subtle rhythm. Low filter kick enters, blending naturally with the ambient texture. Light vinyl crackle and faints, smells at warmth and nostalgia. The first breath of calm before the groove unfolds. Night feels infinite. Build, rolling bassline slides in slow and liquid. Soft percussion, layer shaker, wind tap, brushed hi-hats. Plucks evolve, now slightly brighter, forming a gentle melodic loop. A light reverse pad rising, anticipation building quietly. Drop one, 30, the groove takes shape. Warm kick, deep bass groove, a subtle swing. Echoing plucks dancing in stereo. Pads bloom into a dreamy chord progression, lush but restrained. Background rhythm whispered in the mix. Distant human soothing, the rhythm feels like breathing. Each beat a pulse of serenity. Breakdown, only bass and atmosphere remain. Plugs soften into ambient tones. A faint female voice whispers, I can still see the horizon. Heads swell like waves under moonlight. River drenched and endless. Groove returns smoother and fuller. Bass deep and slightly warm and emotional. Plucks add small variations, syncopated, delicate. Vocal layers subtly echo through the mix, adding depth. Feels like drifting between sleep and awakening. Minimalist moment, just kicks up a gradual filter rise, tension without energy. Just motion, wind-like texture flows through connecting sections. Final drop, full mix returns deep, meditative, beautiful. Pluck shimmer bass roll smoothly, vocal hums return softly. Everything balanced, tranquil, immersive, endless. Kick fades away, only pads and faint delay tails remain. Ends with one lingering pluck echo, the horizon fading in the silence.
Begins with ethereal pads, slowly swelling wide stereo. Filtered kick enters softly, giving a heartbeat-like pulse. Subtle flowing bass hums underneath, barely audible at first. Vocal chops fade in, lightly airy, echoing, almost otherworldly. Feels like drifting weightless under infinite stars. Bassline grows more pronounced, smooth and rolling. Minimal percussion joins soft hi-hats and rim clicks. Pads flow further with reverb and delay, creating a dreamy space. Vocal chops subtly repeat a wordless melody. Harmonic tied to the dance. Deep rolling bass drives the flow. Pads boom, shimmering and lush. Vocal chops layered, climbing through stereo field with hypnotic effect. Percussion remains subtle, airy shakers and soft claps. Hypnotic. Hypnotic floating energy, perfect for late night chill or introspective vibes. soft, echoing vocal chops. Filter sweeps on pads and bass attention without rushing. Space feels fast, reflective, and meditative. Final drop, flowing bass, airy, ethereal pads, hypnotic vocal chops, minimal percussion, smooth, hypnotic, dreamlike, infinite starlit drift, kick and bass slowly fade. Pads and vocal chops late and going softly, ends on a shimmering pad moves like a star fading into the distance.
Begins with airy synth pads shimmering like distant auroras. Soft wind effects and reverb tails give a vast open space feel. A gentle filter kick pulses on the smooth looks. Vocal chops slowly fade in, reversed, echoing, almost angelic. Feels like the first breath of sunrise breaking through clouds. Build warms up, bass rises rolling smoothly beneath the melody. Light percussion enters, soft claps, brushed hats. Synth-ups dance in stereo, jumping, panning left to right. Pads expand, shimmering layers look endless sky. Drop 130 merges, deep with sidechain bound stringing plugs accentuate each chord change. Airy pad swells glide in the background. Yeah, echoing gently through the lake. It's not about dancing, it's about floating rhythm. Breakdown, floating and floating rhythm. Kick fades out, sucking rattle enters, float around turbulent thick clouds. Filters in, look goes in slow motion. A replay a shimmer like reflections of water. Subtle reverse symbol leads into next wave. We are weightless under crystalline skies. Drop the light, deep baseline returns, smoother, louder. Melodic harps lift into euphoric pattern. The entire soundscape breathes with life and warmth. A faint high pitch shimmer rides atop the mix, giving sparkle. Emotion softens again. Broken wire, more emotional and airy. Reverberant delay, extend dramatically dreamlike immersion. Everything blooms into full color, driving smooth rhythm, floating past euphoric lit melody. Emotional vocal chops turn fire. Energy feels like ascending through clouds, gentle and glowing. Drums slowly fade, pad dissolve into echo. Final airy chord holds, then vanishes, ends in silence as if waking from a perfect dream.
Opens with dark atmospheric paths shimmering with faint distortion. Low filtered kick pulses gently in the distance. Deep reverb and stereo panning FS creates an immersive night simply processed flips. Gently in the distance, deep reverb and therapeutic effects create an immersive night space. Beside chained kick flowing mid-bass with liquid movement. Minimal snare snaps tight and crisp. Vocal chops sweep through the mix like an instrument, pitched and stretched. Pads open fully glowing, slow hypnotic. Groove pulls you under, weightless in a midnight trance. Breakdown, kick drops out, floating synth arms echo across the stereo field. A soft female whisper repeats faintly, stay with me through the eclipse. Ambient reverb tail shimmer, silence feels alive. Builds. 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 Baseline returns, smoother and warmer. Additional vocal layers, ghostly hums and reverse tones. Pads grow thicker, layered with deep chord swells. The rhythm feels fluid, like soul waves of emotion. Energy dips slightly, only when percussion and bass remain. Gradual rise with filter bars, sweep and solo snare rolls. Pads re-enter light as breath. Final chop, deep flow returns. Pads, bass, vocals, percussion, all perfectly balanced. Dreamy atmosphere peaks, emotional yet soothing. Vocal chop repeats softly, drift, drift, drift. Trading into reverb, one by one. The layers fade away, only a single pattern and faint heartbeat bass remain. Ends with a soft reverb tail, the eclipse dissolves into night.
Opens with warm atmospheric pads, soft and glowing. Filtered kick pulses subtly in the background. Soft melodic bucks twinkle like sun rays reflecting on water. Ambient ocean wave effects adds natural texture. Feels like walking along the shore as the sun dips below the horizon. Building deep bass enters smoothly, underpinning the groove. Light percussion joins soft hi-hats brush. Pads swell and widen, adding warmth. Feel the horizon. Arms gently pan in stereo, enhancing depths. Drop one, 200, down deep. Soft bassline rolls continuously. Bands, melodic layers expand, very cinematic. Percussion remains soft, containing gentle momentum. Vocal chops echo faintly, adding emotional texture. Energy smooth, relaxing, hypnotic, perfect for sunset chill vibes. Building deep bass and enter smoothly. Briefly after sunset.
enter smoothly. Like a bass,
Opens with the soft, airy path, layers with subtle reverb. Filtered kick enters slowly, light and deep. Gentle rolling bassline hums in the back will create anticipation. Soft effects, sweeps, and distant vocal textures add atmosphere. Feels like stepping onto a rooftop, the night city glowing beneath you. Bassline becomes more prominent, rolling fluidly with subtle modulation. Minimal percussion joins like hi-hats, rim clicks, soft claps. Adds an arsenal, shimmering tones pan across the stereo field. A faint vocal sample, echo, drop one, groove, deep, smooth, bass, side chain and compression. Red, blue, white, airy and cinematic. Melodic looks direct with the bassline, hypnotic and flowing. Percussion is minimal yet precise, maintains rhythm without overpowering. Hypnotic club energy, calm yet driving. Hit and bass, hey, kick and bass made slightly. Has an arcs dominate, creating unity floating. Feels soft as the vibra echo beams flow through the night. Ambient dips, bass holds paths flow to revoke no might be stretched and ethereal. Filter sweeps and soft effects rise slowly, tension without a rush. Everything merges, slowly bass, airy paths, hypnotic, melodic blocks. Minimal percussion and focus, perfect for late night flow. Kick and bass fade, deep smooth bass with softly ends on a single airy note with reverb. Night dissolves into calm. Groove, kick and bass fade, deep smooth bass with softly ends on a single airy note with reverb. Night dissolves into calm. Groove, kick and bass fade, deep smooth bass with softly ends on a single airy note with reverb. Night dissolves into calm. Groove, kick and bass fade, deep smooth bass with softly ends on a single airy note with reverb. Night dissolves into calm. Groove, kick and bass fade, deep smooth bass with softly ends on a single airy note with reverb. Night dissolves into calm. Groove, kick and bass fade, deep smooth bass with softly ends on a single airy note with reverb. Night dissolves into calm. Groove, kick and bass fade, deep smooth bass with softly ends on a single airy note with reverb. Night dissolves into calm. Groove, kick and bass fade, deep smooth bass with softly ends on a single airy note with reverb. Night dissolves into calm. Flow through kick enters slowly, light and deep. Gentle rolling bassline hums in the background, create anticipation. Soft effects, sweeps, and distant vocal textures add atmosphere. Feels like stepping onto a rooftop, the night city glowing beneath you. Slow through the night and the prominent rolling feet. Gentle rolling bassline hums in the background, create anticipation. Soft effects, sweeps, and distant vocal textures add atmosphere. Feels like stepping onto a rooftop, the night city glowing beneath you. Bass rolls deeper and warmer, adds an option rising gently in intensity, percussivity, top to feel. Filters through the night and meet dominant bassline hums of essence and hand steps, drops, steps, drops. Bass rolls deeper and warmer, adds an
Opens with a low-sound drone and faint vinyl static. The rolling bass pulse begins slow, steady, deep. Minimal percussion joins soft rim taps, spaced out hi-hats. together in slow motion. Link deep bass, dreamlike chord stabs, flippered night wave, expansive reverb and delay. Layers, the sound feels endless, like the ocean of the night itself. Elements slowly fade, percussion first, then bass. Only the ambient pad and a faint echo remain. Ends on a long delay tail, the wave fading into the dark. Reverb grows, deep space, atmosphere, slow motion. Bass return. Starts with soft ambient pads panning gently like a breeze. Muted blocks echo in the distance, forming a subtle rhythm. Low filtered kick enters, blending naturally with the ambient texture. Light vinyl crackle and faint synth swells that warmth and nostalgia. The first breath of calm before the groove unfolds. Night feels infinite. Build, rolling bassline slides in, slow and liquid. Soft percussion, layer shaker, and tap brushed hi-hat. Plucks evolve, now slightly brighter, forming a gentle melodic loop. A light reversed pad rising, anticipation building quietly. Drop one, then groove take shape. Warm kick, deep bass groove with subtle swing. Echoing plucks, dancing stereo. Adds blooming to a dreamy chord progression, lush but restrained. Background in the mix, distant human soothing. The rhythm feels like breathing, each beat a pulse of serenity. Breakdown. Into ambient tones, a faint female voice whispers, I can still see the horizon. Pads swell like waves under moonlight, reverb drenched and endless. Groove turns smoother and fuller, bass deep and slightly warm and emotional. Plugs add small variations, syncopated, delicate. Vocal layers suddenly echo through the mix, adding depth. Feels like drifting between sleep and awakening. Just kicks up bass, gradual filter rise, tension without energy, just motion. Wind-like texture flows through connecting sections, final drop, full mix returns. Deep meditative, beautiful, pluck shimmer, bass rolls smoothly, vocal hums return softly. Everything balanced, tranquil, immersive, endless. Kick fades away, only pads and faint delay tails remain. Ends with one lingering plug, echo, the horizon fade into silence.
Begins with stereo pads, slowly swelling white stereo. Filtered kick enter softly, giving a heartbeat like pulse. Subtle flowing bass hums underneath, barely audible at first. Vocal drops fading lightly airy, echoing almost otherworldly. Feels like drifting weightless under infinite stars. Bassline goes feels more pronounced, smooth and rolling. Minimal percussion, drums, soft hi-hats and rhythm clicks. Adds a little further with reverb and delay, creating a dreamy space. Vocal chops every beat, a wordless melodome, monotonely tied to the pads. Deep rolling bass drives the flow. Pads move shimmering, lush. Vocal chops layered like through stereo field with hypnotic effect. Percussion remains subtle, heavy shakers and soft clap. Living energy, perfect for late night chill, introspective vibes. Giving bass states lightly, pads and vocal chops dominately. Arpeggiated synth shimmer, creating sparkling textures. A faint whisper vocal of face drifts. Silent drift before the delay can spend space, giving an endless feeling. Baseline returns, more and rounder, pads and reps blooming fully. Hypnotic vocal chops rise and fall with the groove. Percussion accents minimal but tight, keeping smooth flow. Feels like gliding over a calm, illuminated sea under night sky. Energy dips, only pads, solos and soft echoing vocal chops. Filter swings on pads and bass, add tension without rushing. Space feels fast, reflective, and meditative. Full textures merge, flowing bass, airing ethereal pads. Hypnotic vocal chop, minimal percussion, minimal percussion, smooth, hypnotic, dreamlike, infinite starlit drift. Kick and bass slowly fade. Hypnotic soulful, some shimmering color, soft fading into the distance. Bass drives the flow, pads boom shimmering, lush. Vocal chops they are gliding from the test, start fading into the distance. It can be slowly fade, pads and vocal chops linger, echoing softly, ends on a shimmering pad, like a star fading into the distance.
Shimmering, echoing under a velvet night sky. The scents glisten softly. Each note feels like starlight reflected on rippling water. A deep sub-pad hums beneath, setting a warm nocturnal foundation. A crisp kick enters slowly, followed by airy percussion that breathes rather than strikes. By the 45-second mark, a hypnotic rhythmic pulse emerges, calm, smooth, and entrancing. The bassline begins to unfold, rounded, liquid, and perfectly in sync with the arps. Sweeping risers and filtered reverb tails expand the stereo field, creating a feeling of weightlessness. OXI introduces a delicate lead synth, crystalline, emotional, and floating above the mix. Energy rises not through loudness, but through motion and depth. Each element feels like a wave, gently lifting under moonlight. Main drop, tight, steady, and full-bodied. The arps sparkle brighter, weaving around the deep bass groove. Every kick resonates with warmth. Every synth shimmer dances in balance. It's pure progressive flow, deep enough for introspection, but groovy enough to move. Tiny vocal textures whisper faintly, adding human warmth to the cosmic tone. Underneath, subtle automation keeps everything evolving, never static. The rhythm softens to half energy, pads expand, percussion melts away. The main arm shifts into a new melody, slightly more emotional and reflective. Oasis sound design shines here. Every sound breathes in sync like waves in orbit. The sense of calm is total, yet a pulse of energy remains, ready to rise again. Pads and reverb tails fill the space, no end fades out completely. The arcs dissolve into echoes, fragments of moonlight fades like the night sky before dawn. A final echo of the main melody glows faintly, then disappears completely.
Opens with distant shimmering vacuum uttering of the night sky. The synths glisten softly, each note feels like starlight reflected on rippling water. A deep sub-pad hums beneath, set in a warm nocturnal foundation. A crisp kick enters slowly, followed by airy percussion that breathes rather than strikes. By the 45-second mark, a hypnotic rhythmic pulse emerges, calm, smooth, and entrancing. Calm, smooth, and entrancing. The bassline tunes fill the space, the moment fades out completely. The arcs dissolve into echoes, fragments of moonlight scattered in space. The lurches, a reverse smell of ambient texture brings you into a trance-like state. It feels like drifting through a dream, silent, infinite, and illuminated by the returns to the thing, component fades out completely. The arcs dissolve into echoes, fragments of moonlight scattered in space. The lurches, a reverse smell of ambient texture brings you into a trance-like state. It feels like drifting through a dream, silent, infinite, and illuminated. The bassline begins to unfold around it. The bassline glides effortlessly, shimmering layers of synth vocal haze. Each chord percussion resolves with emotional weight, like closing a chapter. Awakes the subtly afternoon of variant leaves, personal, emotional, and floating out of the mix. Energy rises not through melodies, but through mouths and things. Each element feels like a wave gently lifting under moonlight. Raindrop, a final echo of the main melody, glows faintly, then disappears completely. Resonates with warmth, every single shimmer dances in balance. It's pure progressive flow, deep enough for introspection, but groovy enough to move. Tiny vocal textures whisper faintly, adding human warmth to the cosmic tone. Underneath, subtle automation keeps everything evolving, never static. The rhythm softens to have energy, hands expand, and notes away. The main arc shifts into a new melody, slightly more emotional and receptive and reflective. Awakes the sound design shines here. Every sound breathes in sync like waves rewarding. The sense of calm is total, yet the pulse of energy remains ready to rise again. As in river tails fill the space, low and fades out completely. The arcs dissolve into echoes, fragments of moonlight scattered in space. A ritual. The track opens with soft ocean wave samples, lightly reverberating, creating space. A long pad fades in layer with subtle club scents that sparkle like a sun reflecting on water. A muted, mellow kick enters at 1:16 p.m., barely noticeable at first, like a heartbeat beneath the calm. Ambient field recordings, distant seagulls, soft wind, hands to pitch vibe. At the end of the intro, the track only evokes a serene seaside evening.
track opens with soft ocean wave samples, lightly reverberated to create space. A warm pad fades in, layered with subtle plucked synths that sparkle like sun reflecting on water. A muted, mellow kick enters at on 1/6 peak BPM, barely noticeable at first, like a heartbeat beneath the calm. Ambient field recordings, distant seagulls, soft wind enhance the beach vibe. By the end of the intro, the track already evokes a serene seaside silence. The rounded bass line emerges, flowing smoothly beneath the pads. Soft percussion is added. Gentle hi-hats and subtles giving motion without disrupting calm. A melodic lid enters, airy and smooth, almost like a distant flute guitar riff. Layered reverb gives the sense a sense of floating across the horizon. Energy rises subtly as the listener is drawn deeper into the sonic seascape. Main drop, the groove solidifies, warm bass pulses, lush pads shimmer, and percussion gently drives the rhythm. Synth plucks twinkle in stereo, weaving patterns reminiscent of sunbeams on water. Soft focus and smooth and emotion without overpowering the instrumental focus. The overall feeling is a relaxed, flowing movement, like drifting on calm ocean currents at dusk. Percussion pulls back slightly, focus shifts to melody and texture. A secondary synth line emerges, echoing the main theme in a more intimate, delicate manner. The bass line remains smooth and hypnotic, maintaining a gentle groove. Additional atmospheric layers, subtle wind reverb tails enhance the immersive experience. Listeners feel both grounded in rhythm and lifted by airy textures. Airy textures, airy textures, airy textures, airy textures, airy textures. Breakdown. Bass fade, leaving only pads, plugs, field recordings. A gentle swell of ambient chords fills the space, flow light over the water. Soft arpeggios rise and fall, adding movement and anticipation without tension. The moment feels reflective and cinematic, peaceful, yet emotionally rich. Final drop, all elements return. Bass, pads, percussion, and lead synth in a cohesive, full arrangement. Subtle automation adds variation, volume swells, filter movement, and delay tails create fluid motion. The groove remains calm and relaxed. Energy is balanced and hypnotic. The track reaches its peak emotional depth, capturing the essence of a tranquil evening by the sea. The track opens and flowing gently like a cosmic current, layered percussion and elements, soft hi-hats, brushes, snares, and fade in, adding subtle momentum. A melodic led synth emerges, airy and spacious, with gentle motion across the stereo field. Reverb and delay stretch the sound, enhancing the serene, flowing quality. The track gradually builds, making calm energy while drawing the listener deeper into its atmosphere. The groove solidifies, warm sub-bass echoes the track, while the kick and soft percussion maintain a gentle pulse. Pads and synths expand and shimmer, forming intricate melodic patterns. The lead synth carries a serene, emotional theme, evoking calm introspection. Subtle vocal textures and atmospheric effects float into feeling, enhancing depth. The energy is hypnotic and smooth, balancing movement and spacious serenity. Percussion reduces slightly, melodic elements take the spotlight, floating arpeggios and evolving paths create a sense of drift and weightlessness. The bass line maintains a slow, hypnotic pulse, ambient textures to soft echoes, reverb tails fill the space, sustaining the celestial vibe. The mood is introspective and meditative, like floating in orbit above a calm world. Current elements fade away, leaving only paths, stops, and ambient layers. The slow swelling synth rise adds emotional tension and anticipation. Ethereal textures and field recordings create an immersive, expansive space. This section offers a reflective pause, evoking infinite night skies. All elements return in a cohesive, full arrangement. Bass, kick, pads, and melodic lid. Automation introduces dynamic swells and movement, keeping the texture alive. The groove is smooth, hypnotic, and deeply immersive. Celestial drift reaches an emotional peak without breaking the calm, evoking serenity and awe. A groove solidifies, warms sub-bass, anchors the track, while the kick and soft percussion maintain a gentle pulse. Pads and steps expand and shimmer, forming intricate melodic patterns. The lead synth carries a serene, emotional theme, evoking calm introspections and atmospheric effects, floating effects, and smooth back and smooth effects, floating effects here, filming chords and shimmering harps remain. Ambient echoes linger and slowly dissolve into silence. The track closes with a sense of floating serenity, leaving listeners suspended in a peaceful, cosmic atmosphere. The track opens with airy ethereal pads that swell slowly, creating a vast cosmic soundscape. Soft, filtered field recordings, distant wind, subtle chimes add a sense of space and depth. A muted, rounded kick enters and one heat beat paired with a smooth floating sub-bass. Lido shimmer above the paths, debating the feeling of drifting through stars. By the end of the intro, listeners are fully immersed in a tranquil celestial environment. The bassline thickens, flowing gently like a cosmic current. Layered percussive elements, soft hi-hats, brushed snares fade in, adding subtle momentum. A melodic lit synth emerges, airy and spacious, with gentle motion across the stereo field. Reverb and delay stretch the sound, enhancing the serene, floating quality. The track gradually builds, maintaining calm energy while drawing the listener deeper into its atmosphere. The groove solidifies, warm sub-bass anchors the track, while the kick and soft percussion maintain a gentle pulse. Pads and specials expand and shimmer, forming intricate melodic patterns. The lead synth carries a serene, emotional theme, evoking calm introspection. Subtle vocal textures and atmospheric effects float in the background, enhancing depth. The energy is hypnotic and smooth, balancing movement and spacious serenity. Percussion reduces slightly, melodic elements take the spotlight. Floating arpeggios and evolving paths create a sense of drift and weightlessness. The bassline maintains a slow, hypnotic pulse. Ambient textures, soft echoes, reverb tails fill the space, sustaining the celestial vibe. The mood is introspective and meditative, like floating in orbit above a calm world. Rhythmic elements fade away, leaving only pads, arps, and ambient layers. A slow, swelling synth rise adds emotional tension and anticipation. Ethereal textures and field recordings create an immersive, expansive space. This section offers a reflective pause, evoking infinite night skies. All elements return in a cohesive, full arrangement. Bass, kick, pads, and melodic lid. Automation introduces dynamic swells and movement, keeping the texture alive. The groove is smooth, hypnotic, and deeply immersive. Celestial drift reaches an emotional peak without breaking the calm, evoking serenity and awe. The groove solidifies, warm sub-bass anchors the track, while the kick and soft percussion maintain a gentle pulse. Pads and echoes expand and shimmer, forming intricate melodic patterns. The lead synth carries a serene, emotional theme, evoking calm introspection. Subtle vocal textures and atmospheric effects float in the backgrounds, fade away, leaving only pads, arcs, and ambient layers. A slow, swelling synth rise adds emotional tension and anticipation. Ethereal textures and field recordings created an immersive, expansive space. This section offers a reflective pause, evoking infinite night skies. Final drop.
The track commences stop to impact the flows, creating an expansive dreamlike atmosphere. A gentle round of kick enters that one succeed BPM. There pulses slightly beneath the pads, delicate blood dust twinkle across the stereo field. Emotional depth of mood, feel recorded, soft wind or distant water, enhance the immersive cinematic feel. By the end of the intro, the listener is enveloped in a serene, ambient landscape, enhancing the track's dreamlike quality. Reverb and delay effects stretch the sound, creating depth and chills, and adds the sub-percussion elements like hi-hats and brush snares. A gentle rhythmic motion, a melodic leads and begins to rise, airy and emotional, enhancing the track's dreamlike quality. Reverb and delay effects stretch the sound, creating depth and a sense of infinite space. The track with the builds tension while maintaining its calm, reflective energy. The track will pads and march shimmer brightly. A flowing melodic line emerges, emotional yet soft, weaving through the layered textures. Subtle vocal textures float above the instrumentation, adding warmth and intimacy. The track achieves its straight flow smooth, hypnotic and emotionally rich. Energy is present but restrained, keeping the focus on mood and immersive depth. And bass simplify, allowing melodic elements to dominate. Arpeggios evolve slowly, adding harmonic interest and a sense of progression. Pads swell gently, maintaining an airy atmospheric quality. Ambient effects and subtle delays create a reflective, almost meditative space. This space, immersed in the calming textures. Breakdown, rhythm fades, only pads, arcs, and ambient waves remain. A soft synth swell and harmonic echoes create tension and anticipation for the final drop. Breakdown evokes introspection and serenity, like gazing at an endless night sky. Every sound is spacious and evolving, maintaining emotional depth. Final drop. Only pads, arcs, and ambient pads and melodic layers remain. Dynamic automation intersweeps, volume swells and delayed echoes. Pads add to the textures, the track flows smoothly, balancing emotional melody with deep chill atmosphere. The arm's arrangement reaches the peak of immersive serenity, leaving the listener believe forward to the sunny dreamscape. Percussion and bass simplify, kick and good the track, while pads and rocks shimmer bright. A slow melodic line emerges, pushing the track with calm and reflective culture.
The full groove arrives, bass line and kick anchor the track, while pads and arms shimmer brightly. A flowing melodic line emerges, emotional yet soft, weaving through the layered textures. Subtle vocal textures float above the instrumentation, adding warmth and intimacy. The track achieves its dream flow, smooth, hypnotic, and emotionally rich. Energy is present but restrained, keeping the focus on mood and immersive depth. Energy is present but restrained, keeping the focus on mood and immersive depth. By the end of the intro, the listener is enveloped in a serene, ambient landscape. Bilderberg thinks and flows smoothly, complementing the arpeggios and adagios of pads. Subtle percussion elements like hi-hats and brush snares add gentle rhythmic motion. A melodic lead synth begins to rise, airy and emotional, enhancing the track's dreamlike quality. Reverb and delay effects stretch the sound, creating depth and a sense of infinite space. The track gradually builds tension while maintaining its calm, reflective energy. Good and immersive depth. The full group arrives, bassline and kick anchor the track, while paths and notes shimmer brightly. A flowing melodic line emerges, emotional yet soft, weaving through the layered textures. Subtle vocal textures float above the instrumentation, adding warmth and intimacy. The track achieves its dream flow, smooth, hypnotic, and emotionally rich. Energy is present but restrained, keeping the focus on mood and immersive depth. Energy is present but restrained, keeping the focus on mood and immersive depth. Rhythm fades, only pads, arps, and ambient layers remain. A soft synth swell and harmonic echoes create tension and anticipation for the final drop. The breakdown evokes introspection and serenity, like gazing at an endless night sky. Every sound is spacious and evolving, maintaining emotional depth. Final drop, final drop, final drop, final drop. Elements return, bass, kick pads, and melodic leads. Dynamic automation, filter sweeps, volume swells, and delayed echoes adds life to the textures. The track flows smoothly, balancing emotional melody with deep chill atmosphere. Lunar's arrangement reaches a peak of immersive serenity, leaving the listener fully absorbed in the sonic dreamscape. The full group arrives, bassline and kick anchor the track, while paths and notes shimmer brightly. A flowing melodic line emerges, emotional yet soft, weaving through the layered textures. Subtle vocal textures float above the instrumentation, adding warmth and intimacy. The track achieves its dream flow, smooth, hypnotic, and emotionally rich. Energy is present but restrained, keeping the focus on mood and immersive depth. Energy is present but restrained, keeping the focus on mood and immersive depth. Energy is present but restrained, keeping the focus on mood and immersive depth. Immersive depth. Camo shimmering echoes dissolve into silence, concluding the track with calm, reflective closure.
A single low pad fades in like a fog bank, followed by faint vinyl crackle. A muted kick at 180 BPM begins to thump softly, joined by a velvety sub-bass that breathes with sidechain motion. High-passed chords shimmer across the stereo field empty city streets at midnight. Distant reverse synths whisper in the background, an invitation into the dream. Soft as wood clicks and filtered hi-hats. Knoxer's signature reverb washed plucks appear, dancing gently on top of the groove. The bass line thickens and begins to roll hypnotically. A vocal pad enters, wordless, airy, almost angelic, hovering just above the chords. Energy rises subtly, preparing the listener for the deep main drop. Main drop. Full rhythm lands, the kick gains weight, the bass swells into a smooth liquid pulse. Pads bloom into white stereo clouds, filling every corner of the mix. The melody unfolds in cascading arpeggios, simple, emotional, endlessly looping. Each sound breathes in slow motion, balancing club rhythm and emotional calm. It feels like moving through neon reflections under rain. The percussion relaxes, the melodic line takes focus. A warm electric piano motif, endlessly tuned, adding a human touch. A soft male vocal sample murmurs through heavy reverb, just a phrase fading like memory. The bass remains constant, guiding the track forward like a heartbeat. Ambient textures swell in the background, suggesting space and solitude. Rhythm dissolves into amplitudes, pads evolve into evolving chord swells. Delayed tails drift into infinity. A faint field recording of wind and night ambience breathes between phrases. A single reversed synth swell builds gently towards the next wave. All elements return and flow, warmer form. Pads glow brighter, the bass glides deeper. Percussion sparkles with subtle high-end clarity. A new top line synth adds emotional lift. Minor to major modulation gives a sense of hope. The atmosphere feels transcendent, like the night opening into dawn. The track rides this flow, hypnotic and immersive. The drums and bass fade first, leaving only soft pads and vocal echo. The final chord sustains and dissolves into silence, peaceful, endless, ethereal. single low pad fades in like a fog bank, followed by faint vinyl crackle. A muted kick at 180 BPM begins to thump softly, joined by a velvety sub-bass that breathes with sidechain motion. High-pass chords shimmer across the stereo field, like an empty city streets at midnight. Distant reverse synths whisper in the background, an invitation into the dream. Built up, layers, four-belief sockers, wood clicks and filtered hi-hats. Knocks or signature reverb wash plugs appear, dancing gently on top of the groove. The bass line thickens and begins to roll hypnotically. A vocal pad enters, wordless, airy, almost angelic, hovering just above the chords. Energy rises subtly, preparing the listener for the deep main drop. Main drop. The full rhythm lands. The kick gains weight. The bass swells into a smooth, liquid pulse. Pads bloom into white stereo clouds, filling every corner of the mix. The melody unfolds in cascading arpeggio, simple, emotional, endlessly looping. Each sound breathes in slow motion, balancing club rhythm and emotional calm. It feels like moving through neon reflections under rain. The percussion relaxes, the melodic line takes focus. A warm electric beat, a motif and beat tuned, adding a human touch. Soft male vocal sample murmurs through heavy reverb, just a phrase fading like memory. The bass remains constant, guiding the track forward like a heartbeat. Ambient textures swell in the background, suggesting space and solitude. Breakdown rhythm dissolves into ambience. The paths evolve into evolving chord swells. The tails drift into infinity. A faint field recording of wind in the night. Ambience breathes between phrases. A single verse in swell builds gently towards the next wave. All elements return in fuller, warmer form. Pads glow brighter, the bass glides deeper. Percussion sparkles with subtle high-end clarity. A new top line synth adds emotional lift. Minor to major modulation gives a sense of hope. The atmosphere feels transcendent, like the night opening into dawn. The track rides this flow, hypnotic and immersive. Drums and bass fade first, leaving only soft pads and the vocal echo. The final chord sustains and dissolves into silence, peaceful, endless, ethereal.
The track begins with airy, expansive pads, slowly swelling and filling the stereo space. Soft ambient textures like distant wind chimes and subtle field recordings set a reflective mood. A muted kick enters at 1117 BPM, rounded and soft and equated by a deep sub-bass pulse that breaks rhythmically through the pads, glimmering like starlight across a calm night sky. By the end of the intro, the listener is gently immersed in a dreamy, cinematic enjoyment. The bass line deepens, flowing smoothly beneath the arms and pads. Additional layers of soft percussive elements, lighters and brushed snares, fade in subtly. The slow, emotional synth beat begins to rise, airy and burst-emial, enhancing the dreamwave texture. Reverb and delay effects stretch the soundscape, creating a sense of vast space and introspection. Energy gradually builds, drawing the listener towards the main drop without disrupting the calm. The full rhythm arrives, warm, flowing bass anchors the track, while the kick maintains a smooth pulse. Pads swell and shimmer, layered with gentle arpeggios and soft harmonic textures. A delicate lead synth carries the melody, airy and emotional, adding a cinematic depth. Subtle vocal textures and ethereal effects float above, enhancing the dreamlike atmosphere. The groove remains deep and hypnotic, evoking a sense of floating through a nocturnal, starlit environment. Percussion and bass reduce slightly, allowing and bass fade first, followed by melodic layers. Only the airy paths and ambient echoes linger, slowly dissolving into silence. The track ends with a feeling of calm, respective serenity, leaving the listener suspended in a dreamlike state. The baseline deepens, flowing smoothly beneath the arms and pads. Additional layers of soft percussive elements, sliders and brush snares, fade in subtly. Slow emotion simply begins to rise, airy in a dream yacht, enhancing the dream wave texture. Reverb and delay effects stretch the soundscape, creating a sense of vast space and introspection. Energy gradually builds, drawing the listener towards the main drop without disrupting the calm. The full rhythm arrives, warm, flowing bass anchors the track, while the kick maintains a smooth pulse. Pads swell and shimmer, layered with gentle low, come subtle through recordings, into a reflective mood. A delicate lead synth carries the melody, airy and emotional, adding a cinematic depth. Subtle vocal textures and ethereal effects float above, enhancing the dreamlike atmosphere. The groove remains deep and hypnotic, evoking a sense of flow through a nocturnal starlit environment. The percussion and bass reduce slightly, allowing melodic layers to shine. The arpeggio shift into a softer, flowing pattern, intertwined with warm pad hummings. The emotional synth melody continues, creating a reflective and immersive moment. Ambient elements, light wind, distant echoes maintain space and serenity. Listeners feel both grounded by rhythm and uplifted by melodic motion. Rhythmic elements fade out, leaving on the pads arcs and subtle atmospheric textures. Slow, swelling synth pad rising, the beat busts out from harmonic echoes and airy effects. The atmosphere becomes contemplative and ethereal, like gazing at the sky in solitude. This section provides an emotional pause before the final wave of energy. All elements return in full, bass kick, pads arcs, and melodic lead synth. Automation introduces dynamic swells and filter movements, giving life to the texture. The groove is deep, smooth, and flowing, maintaining a dreamy, immersive mood. Layers interact organically, building an emotional peak that remains gentle and reflective. Percussion and bass fade first, followed by melodic layers. Only the airy pads and ambient echoes linger, slowly dissolving into silence. The track ends with a feeling of calm, introspective serenity, leaving the listener suspended in a dreamlike state. The track